So the first book you're going to read is The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Okay. When you get done with that book, here's what I'm going to tell you. You better have a whole bunch of notes on paper about that book. Okay. So I'm going to teach you how to read books now. We're not reading books for education or for fluff. We're reading books for education. So I need you to take all these notes and you'll fold them in half on paper and you'll slide them in the front of that book. So then you can go back to that book and pull your notes out and review. Okay. Same thing with the Chris Voss book, but we're not going to read the Chris Voss book. We're going to read that one. And then we're going to read It's My Ship. And then I'm going to pull up my list. My book list. Hang on. I'll pull it up right now, man. I'll pull it. You know what? We good. You just get on that book. We'll talk next time we get together. We'll talk about what books we got. If I got to add any books to it, but I think that's pretty much, you got the staple ones right there. Okay. So here's what I'm going to tell you. You're not reading books for me. Okay. So I want you to focus on what you need to focus on in school right now. And then if you got time on Saturday evening, you get the book out, you read for 2 or 3 hours. Okay. Do you like to read?
I do. I have a collection of books right now in my room too. Yeah.
All right, then it won't be a pain for you. Okay. But I want you to take notes because I got every one of them books you got. I got notes on every one of them.
Right.
All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to walk through those books, a couple of the first ones. So I'll make sure that you're comfortable with how we're going to show up and how we're going to lead in our first job in the Army. Okay. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. Because I don't want you, like, you're going to have a little bit of anxiety, but we ain't going to have no fear. Okay. All right. What kind of questions you got for me?
I guess like one of my last questions will be, I'll base it off of what I've been feeling lately then this past week or so. So whenever you feel like, that overwhelming feeling of like, because we've been basically drinking information out of like a fire hose because they're like rapid firing all this information because, you can't, there's a certain time they have to fill of training, and we're not, if we took our time training and trying to learn all this stuff, it would take much longer. Like the schedule wouldn't even permit it,
Yeah.
So when things aren't clicking, like when the information isn't clicking and, I'm struggling, like trying to figure things out on my own, and then trying to like think about, all right, I gotta make sure this next op order is A1, like far better than everybody else's,
Yeah.
I want to be that dude. Like what kind of ways can I go about that? Because it's like,
what's the number one thing I'm going to tell you? What's the number one thing I'm going to tell you to answer that question? What's the number one thing?
Man. I wouldn't even know.
You better think, bro. I'm going to tell you, listen, I'm going to teach you how to fish, bro. I ain't going to feed you fish. Okay? You're going to learn how to fish. You're going to starve to death, bro, with me. Straight up. Right. Okay? What's the number one thing you got to do in that situation?
I think for myself, it's probably just burying myself and trying to like studying all this information.
Okay, if I told you you're a Hispanic male, what's the number one thing you got to do?
All right, ask for help
because you better ask for fucking help.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm giving you 2 free people. Just pick the phone up and call.
Right.
You hear what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the last thing you should do is what you just said. The last thing you should do is just try to kill yourself to do better.
Right.
Because you don't even know what better is.
I understand what you said. I mean, I kind of like, I knew you sent me contacts just now, but like, it kind of like I had already had in the back of my head, but when it came to like thinking like, all right, how am I going to do this? Like better. I've been just thinking in a solo mindset, like, all right, I'm doing it on my own, forgetting that you like, people to talk to. So it's kind of like,
what did I just tell you? What is the number one thing you got to be cognizant of?
Right.
What's the number one thing you got to, so listen, knowing your faults are how you become great. Right. You don't have to work on your faults a lot. You just better understand them. All right. What's the number one fault you're dealing with right now?
Pride.
You got raised in a Hispanic household. You're always right and you're really prideful. Bro, neither one of them things are going to help you get where you want to go. You got to put your pride away. You're not going to know everything. And you got to ask for help, bro. Because if not, this is what's going to happen. You may do good on your own one time, and then they're going to set you up and they're going to get you. And then you're gonna be looking around, you're gonna graduate the last kid in the class. They're gonna send your ass to ADAC Alaska. Right?
Right.
Okay. So if you truly want to be great, which I think you do, I would have ended this phone conversation like 40 minutes ago. Okay, then you have to do what I tell you to do. So here's my 2 rules, brother. I'm never gonna tell you no BS. Okay. Wait, that ain't right. No, yeah, I'm never gonna tell you any BS, and then you got to do what I tell you to do. Those are the 2 rules. At any point you decide you don't want that you don't want to do what I tell you to do, then I'm just gonna tell you go screw yourself. Okay? Because like right now in May, we going to Hawaii. One of my young bucks is taking command of a nuclear submarine. Okay, do listen to everything I tell him. Right? Not listen to everything I tell him, but early on in his career, he took the advice we gave him and ran with it. He got mentorship. He knew how to be the #1 dude on the ship. He had to do all the work, okay, but we gave him the how. And that's what I want you to understand. This ain't no, like, I'm not giving you no advice that I haven't given 100 other O1s, maybe 200 other O1s. Okay. Does that make sense?
Does. Okay. I see it.
So your first thing, you're gonna call both of these people. You'll reach out to both of these people, have a conversation with them tonight, and you're not gonna build your relationship. You're gonna ask them some very pointed questions. Okay. You better have your op order handy. You got your last op order handy?
They collected them, but I could probably find it in my drive somewhere in my email. So
okay,
I'll get it out.
You better have that handy because they may ask you some very pointed questions. You better have the answers for them. So take about 15 minutes to get your shit ready and then give them a call.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to tell you. You can't stay in your own head when you get that feeling. You got to call for help. Okay. You can call me on simple shit like, hey, man, you know, Staff Sergeant slapped the shit out of me today in formation. Okay. Then we have a conversation. Okay.
Yeah.
All the leadership stuff I got times 10. But when it's something specific like you dealing with, I can't help. Okay. Right. Does that make sense?
It do.
But I know how to get help. Okay. I'm working on something massive right now. Okay. I can't do 90% of it. So I got a whole team working with me to help me pull off this massive thing that we're working on. Right. I can't do any of the stuff they can do well. Okay. I know I can't do it. So shoot, why am I trying to do something to fail? Hell no. I put together a world-class team. I'm letting the world-class team work. They're gonna get magic. I'm gonna get the magic, and then I'm gonna turn it into fucking complete rainstorm of $1,000 bills, brother. Okay. All right. What other questions you got for me? You got some work to do.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit up all the questions I really had. So I really appreciate it. I'm gonna definitely take your advice and hit those guys up tonight.
Yeah, if you don't, you at Fort Lee, right?
Fort Benning.
You at Fort Benning?
Fort Benning, Georgia.
You don't want any of my goons showing up to visit you at Fort Benning. Right. I'm not laughing, am I?
Nah.
I got 2 phone calls I can make right now and have 2 savages standing at your doorstep asking you what the fuck you doing.
Right.
Okay. So you call me. Remember what are the 2 rules?
You're not gonna feed me any BS, and
you gotta do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So write down what are your 2 faults. Right. What are your 2 faults? Write them down. I don't call them faults. Write down what are your 2 kind of weaknesses that you got to be cognizant of at all times.
Okay, I got it.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's rock and roll. I expect to hear great things on this next op order. I don't run a ramp-up plan. Like the op order ain't got to be better. It's got to be perfect. You understand what I'm saying? So get you some questions with them dudes in the Army. You got my cell phone number. You just text me, give me some updates. And then when you're done with that book, give me a call. If you need anything in between, reach out.
I got you, sir.
You got any last parting questions for me?
No, sir.
We're going to drop this fire-ass video we just made. Shit, this was a good one. It'll help a bunch of people, man. Like, you know my deal, man. I'm just trying to make the world a better place and make sure nobody had my experience in the military, man.
That's that's what made me gravitate to you too, man. Like you're not, you know, like some big like pop attraction, you know, trying to feed people like bullshit, you know. So I knew you were real from the start. When I started hearing some of your interviews, I'm like, this is the type of people I need to like actually like listen to, you know.
Let's go, bro.
Never really had that, so it's like, you know.
Well, you know what? At least you made the first step and reached out and called me, right? Because I was blowing your ass off until I asked where the hell you were at. You told me you was in the army already. Then I'm good, right? Okay, fill out my spreadsheet for me too, because I need to be able to track you.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, and listen, here's the other thing I'm gonna tell you. Don't be a stranger. I got about 40 of you guys. So if you don't check in with me from time to time, it might be 3 months before I remember this conversation. And then I call you up and blow your head off for not just staying in touch with me. Okay, you're not bothering me. If you start bothering me, I'll tell you. But I'm gonna tell you this: you can't bother me because you're good. All right, you worthy. If you weren't worthy, I would have got off this phone call 50 minutes ago. Okay.
Got you, sir.
You do what we tell you to do. Round your face off. You'll be successful, really successful. Okay.
Got it.
All right, Daniel. Awesome conversation. You need anything? You got my phone number, brother.
Awesome. I appreciate you, man.
Easy day, Beth.
All right.
Later.